Hello, it's Gab and Dad, movie reviews. Gab, Dad, yesterday we went to see the movie 2012 starring, I guess if you can call it starring, John Cusack. This is the current, apocalyptic, end of the world, blockbuster, pile of rubbish that's now playing in your local cinema.
Blockbuster pile of rubbish.
Gab,
specific genre.
It was going to take 3 seconds, because that's all it should take, to tell you what this movie is about.
2012 means the year 2012, about 3 years from now, the year that supposedly the world will come to an end, supposedly according to...
And it is the kind of movies the world is producing. It should come to an end. It would be
well,
a
there's
great
lots
relief.
of these kind of movies, unfortunately. This one, supposedly the Mayans predicted this. Don't know if there's much scientific evidence that the world's going to end in 3 years.
Of course
but
there isn't.
I hope not. I haven't Googled it lately, but in the movie, scientists discover that there's this impending doom for mankind. Run to alert the president.
They discover this,
get
by
their
the way,
things in order.
they're looking down a huge, deep well. You're seeing the water bubbling down below. That's how they. That's how they discover. The scientists discover this, and it's in India for some reason. I don't know why that is.
Really, so we can hear some good Indian accents. Yeah, so basically, we've sort of seen this before. Even when I saw the previews, I'm like, I've seen this before. It's Roland Emmerich, so he's the artiste behind Independence Day, The Day After Tomorrow, Godzilla. So
he did Godzilla?
Yeah. I wasn't going to mention that. But yeah, so it's a CGI fest, weak script. You got a couple of actors in there.
It's not weak, it's non-existent. They must have spent $100 million on computer effects and $3 on script writing. That's about the ratio of script to CGI.
Yeah, and the majority of the script consists of characters saying, "My God."
They say that a lot. My God, as they watch some huge building fall over, or look at some computer screen that's supposed to be showing that China has just
like
disappeared.
Yeah,
my God, they say. Now, what kind of feeble script writing is that?
Well, if I saw a building collapse, I'd probably say, "My God."
I don't think you'd say, "My God." I don't know. I think you might say something a bit saltier than "My God."
Well, I think it's PG-13, so they might want to get the kids in there. Not that it's kid
kids
appropriate.
Find it laughable. My God, kids just laugh at that.
There's a lot of effects, and some of it's cool. In the beginning, we sort of said, "Oh, look, that's pretty neat." The first real action scene is pretty impressive when they're escaping LA, and LA is crumbling around them. It's kind of neat, but 2 hours in, how neat can a CGI shot be that's going to keep you awake 2 hours later?
Yeah, the whole thing is totally reliant on CGI. No acting to speak of, no plot to speak of. The whole thing dumb. Nothing.
Good writing.
Yeah, dumb. And so the whole thing rests on CGI, but you've seen it before. There are other movies, Roland Emmerich movies and other movies. You see, video games, which are now so sophisticated.
Yeah.
You've seen it before, and you cannot sustain almost 3 hours of interest on this stuff.
No. And the characters that you're supposed to be engaged with did the job, but not much. I wasn't engaged. Meanwhile, billions of people are dying every 5 minutes.
Who cares?
It's too abstract to care about that, and then you're supposed to care about these specific characters. And the acting was fine. I don't know how it was supposed to be any better, but I still wasn't that engaged. There were a couple of children in there, so as a mom, that was the closest I got to feeling any sort of emotions, and a puppy.
There's one little sort of subscript they toss out a couple of times so that they could have made something more about. And that's the idea that the governments of the world knew what was going to happen long in advance. Mm-hmm. But they didn't tell anybody there was a cover-up.
Yeah. There
was a cover-up. And meanwhile, I don't want to say too much because it would be a spoiler, but they were making certain plans to deal with this, but without telling anybody. And when a few people caught on to something going on, these people were quietly assassinated to keep it quiet. So there's a little bit of evil government cover-up thing going on, but it's never really developed.
Yeah,
it's just tossed in.
That was one of the more interesting parts in a way, or it could have been. There's a bit of a sort of, political intrigue. And there also could have been, I'm maybe pushing it, but some sort of social, moral messages if they explored more of the, how do you choose who's going to survive an apocalypse and stuff like that.
There was the idea that, the President of the United States was told, you must tell people what's happening. They won't be able to save themselves, but at least they'll have the chance to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And there was a few little interesting things like that floating around, but it was totally swamped by this barrage of CGI stuff and totally enveloped and muffled and deadened by the pathetic, puerile script.
Now that was good writing.
Thank you.
My God.
Oh my God, yes.
So we don't recommend it?
Well, my recommendation is this, that if you haven't seen this film and you're feeling the slightest way tempted, instead go out into your garden if you have one and bash your head against the garden fence or a brick wall for a couple of hours. It'll be time better spent than seeing this movie, and it'll on the whole be more enjoyable. And if you have seen it already and you didn't wait to see what we had to say about it before going, well, sorry, my condolences. That's all I have to say.
If you value live every day like it's your last, watch Gab and Dad reviews before you go to a movie.
If the world is coming to an end, do not spend your last few hours seeing this movie, right?
Right.
Cut. Hello folks, it's Gab and Dad, movie reviews, Gab, Dad. Yesterday we went to see 2012 starring John Cusack. It's the big... Oops, that's my phone.